Hey everybody, this was of course record store day this past weekend, but it was also the same day, the opening day of our biannual Friends of the Library sale here in town. It's a huge warehouse sale of all kinds of goodies they've collected over the past 6 months. People donate, and I guess all the sales go to help the library system buy more books and movies and things, magazines for their collection. And so it's a really big deal. It goes on for 5 days. The last couple days are discount. I think the second to last is 50% off everything, and the last day everything's pretty much 10 cents. Just to clear it out. But it's really crucial to get there that first day as early as you can because stuff goes quick. Especially records, vinyl records. They had quite a bit. They always do. This year, not. In previous times I've gone, they seem to, as you're digging through and it starts to clear out, they keep coming and bringing more and more and refilling. So it's always good to hang around or to take a break and come back and see what they've restocked. This time, there just wasn't a whole lot that they restocked. I mean, it emptied out after probably about 3 or 4 hours. Most of the bins are about half empty, and then after that it was nothing much new. So I was glad I got there. Instead of waiting in line for record store day, I waited in line for this thing and got in pretty quickly and just went right to it. So I'm going to do a separate video for the CDs from the vinyl because I've got a ton of vinyl and I need to kind of go through it and organize it and stuff, and get a little more familiar with what I have. But I'll go through the CDs because I can do that fairly quickly, or I'll try to. And so yesterday, Sunday, I went back for the second day just to see if there's anything new. I didn't really find much new vinyl, but I did find a couple cool CDs that were looks like from the actual library. The library department goes through their selection of CDs and thins it out every year or so and gets rid of some stuff that's not really current. And I almost missed these, except I recognized the little, multicolor thing on the spine there. These are a couple of Peter Gabriel CDs here. You can see the library's logo. But it's, I almost passed up. I haven't really kept up with Peter Gabriel stuff. The album Us was kind of a letdown to me. He waited so long to put that one out after So, and I think he kind of overworked it, and it was kind of lacking the energy that his earlier stuff had. And then from there it just seemed to go downhill. Like stuff lacked the spontaneity. It didn't really have the spark for me. But I still respect him, and these were 50 cents a piece. Couldn't pass it up. I want to give it a listen, give it a shot. So these are the two that kind of go together. It's Scratch My Back. I can't really show it. It's hard to read. These are just reproductions of the outer thing they put in here. But Scratch My Back. There's the actual cover of this thing. They still have the booklets in them, which is nice. They have the disc and the booklet. They're missing the little tray insert that would go in the back of the jewel case. But Scratch My Back, which is him doing cover versions of, or no, I guess other people. I can't remember how this works. One of them is other people doing cover versions of his. Yeah, Scratch My Back, him doing cover versions of other people's songs. And then, and I'll Scratch Yours is other people doing versions of his songs, covers of his songs. It's kind of an interesting concept. Nice booklets, 50 cents a piece, Can't pass that up. I'll give that a shot. And so yesterday I also found this. Let's see, those are 50 cents. This is another 50-cent one here. Future Sound of London. This is Cascade. I don't know if this is like a CD single or if this was actually like an independent release of its own. I used to have Life Forms by these guys and ISDN. Back when I was in college, it was the late night working in the architecture studio listening here. yeah, good stuff. Kind of on the, kind of the intelligent dance music, IDM, electronic ambient thing. A little bit. Always had kind of a cold feeling to it. I think it's why I don't have those other two. I think I got rid of those at one point, but I used to listen to those, and the Orb, the KLF Chill Out. Those were like late night listening. I still have the Orb ones and the KLF, but I don't think I ever had this CD, so it's kind of cool to pick up. I always liked their sound. Another little cheapie here, actually a quarter. The music soundtrack from Twin Peaks, the TV series. So it's got the theme, Laura Palmer's theme, all that kind of stuff. Pretty cool. I went through with my wife, and I don't know, probably 10 years ago, we watched the whole series because I never watched it when it first came out on TV, and I really liked it. I'd seen the Fire Walk With Me movie with my friend Dave, who had been a big fan of the TV series and told me it's something we should see, and I remember seeing it and just being like, what the hell was that? Great movie. TV series was really good at first, kind of went downhill towards the end, but definitely the Fire Walk With Me movie was amazing. Got me into David Lynch. But there's the music by Angelo Badalamenti. Good stuff. And then from here on, it's going to be jazz, a lot of jazz CDs. If you're not so much into jazz, you might want to tune out. But picked up a bunch. There's really not many places in town anymore where you can pick up CDs. There's the big box, used to be Barnes & Noble, now it's Second and Charles, that carries CDs, but their selections is not much. I was kind of hoping when they opened up as like a new and used place that they would have more used CDs, but not much. So I was excited to find a lot of jazz for $3 and less on CD. We got Wynton Kelly Trio with Wes Montgomery, Smoking at the Half Note. Kind of a El Cheapo Verve reissue here on CD. Nothing fancy by this, but it's kind of one of the pricier ones, $3, but I'll bite. McCoy Tyner Super Trios on Milestone. I've got most of his Milestone stuff on vinyl. I really like it. Of course, he played piano with Coltrane. This one's got Ron Carter and Tony Williams, and Eddie Gomez and Jack DeGiannetti on some of the other stuff. So it's kind of split. Two different awesome trios here. Yusef Lateef, Eastern Sounds, Prestige, Original Jazz Classics reissue here. They're usually pretty good. Stuff remastered in the 80s. Thelonious himself, Thelonious Monk, a Riverside reissue by Original Jazz Classics, which was Fantasy Records. They end up picking up all the catalogs from these great labels, Prestige and Riverside and Pablo and stuff. Oh, come on. And John Coltrane, Giant Steps. Kind of another cheapy reissue here. I wish sometimes these record labels, they put a little more thought into these things with the artwork and the packaging. The early CDs, a lot of them are just really crappy looking. This is no exception, but it's the music that's important. This one, I don't know, I didn't even see this one. I ran into a guy, he used to run a record store here in town, Ted Sharp. I run into him at these sales all the time. He's looking through the jazz CDs with me, and he grabbed this one out and told me this is a good one to have. It's from Columbia, The Sound of Jazz. But it's got a lot of the big names, Count Basie, Billie Holiday, Jimmy Geoffrey Trio, Jimmy Rushing, Mal Waldron. It's a Sony Legacy reissue, so it should have really good sound. And some Blue Notes. These are the early, the 80s Blue Note reissues here. Probably a lot of these are Ron McMaster yeah, Ron McMaster digital transfer. So the sound's probably pretty good. Before the RBG remasters where he kind of tinkered with the sound. You got Art Blakey, Buhana's Delight. Yeah, I mean, the packaging's kind of crappy, but a lot of these it sounds pretty good on. I mean, they haven't messed with it too much. Ron McMaster did a nice job for the most part with these, I think. J.J. Johnson, the Eminent J.J. Johnson Volume 1. This one's still got the sticker from, I think that was from Specs. Can't remember what store that was that had that sticker. Newer Blue Note from the 80s, Kenny Burrell and Grover Washington Jr. with Jack DeGiannetti on drums. And what else we got here? Some newer stuff. Joshua Redman. I can't remember if he's Dewey Redman's son. Could be. This is on, I think, Warner Brothers. He's got Pat Metheny on guitar, Charlie Hayden on bass, Billy Higgins on drums. So, I mean, just based on that lineup, I had to buy it. And then some of the cooler stuff. One of these nice Impulse gatefold reissues here. This is Duke Ellington and John Coltrane on Impulse. I really like this packaging, the way they did this series. These are 20-bit super bit mapping remasters here, and they got the little booklet in the middle. These are really nice. This one's a little rough, but that's alright. $1.50, can't beat it. See Vince Guaraldi, the Charlie Brown Christmas. The yellow, that's a quarter. I paid $1 for this. That's amazing. It's got the cool kind of, it's like an animation cell. Nice. This is put out by Fantasy. That was the original label that his stuff came out on. But they did a nice job with this reissue here. It's got a little, oh, actually it's missing the booklet. Oh well. Oh no, it's got the booklet. There's the booklet. Yeah, it's got a little facsimile of the original year of the album here. It's got lots of bonus tracks, so that was really cool for $1. Hell yeah. But me and to pick that up on vinyl. I think they have colored vinyl versions of that now. Chet Baker compilation, Deep in the Dream. The ultimate Chet Baker compilation, it says. This is Pacific Jazz, probably Capitol or EMI reissue here. It's got really good liner notes on this that talks about the circumstances of the different recordings and the unfortunate sort of decline in the heroin addiction and getting arrested and leaving the country and all that stuff. Tragic story, but good music. Another really cool reissue. This is one of the Verve Master Edition reissues here. Lester Young, Roy Eldridge, and Harry Edison, Laughing to Keep from Crying. It's another nice fold-out, trifold digipack reissue thing here. Kind of got a facsimile of the original label there on the CD. I mean, CDs can be really done really well. I mean, it can be really nice packaging if they put the right work into it, and they did on these, on the Impulse ones, and these. They're really nice. I mean, this is $3, so one of the more expensive among the used ones. From the same series, the Verve Master Edition. This is Getz and Stan Getz and I don't know how to pronounce that. Joao Gilberto. I don't know, but everybody knows this album. Nice early bossa nova, probably one of the best. Creed Taylor production for Verve. But it's got the trifold digipack here, and again, kind of a reproduction of the original label on the CD. This one's missing its booklet, but that's alright. Nice, I think these are 20-bit digital remasters. high resolution 20-bit digital remaster, it says. Okay, and then a CTI. See, they came out with the Sony Legacy series, reissuing the CTI stuff at one point. I guess they're all 20-bit super bit mapping reissues here. Not quite as nice as the Verve ones and the Impulse, but still pretty cool. Yeah, it doesn't really reproduce the label or the original back cover. It's still pretty cool. I'm sure the sound's really good on this. Hubert Laws in the beginning. And then final among the CDs from the Bethlehem label. Great West Coast jazz label from the I don't know, mid to late 50s, early 60s. This is Herbie Mann and Sam Most, a couple guys on playing flute jazz. The Herbie Mann, Sam Most Quintet. With Joe Puma on guitar, no, I thought I said Jimmy Garrison, it's not. Joe Puma on guitar, another one of the kind of unknown but talented jazz guitarists, lesser known I should say. Nice, this is Avenue Jazz, I guess, did these reissues. I don't remember ever seeing these, but I didn't know anything about the Bethlehem label until about a year ago. Of course, I always think of Herbie Mann as like a 70s guy in that awful album cover where he's got bare-chested and just looking gross. You know, he started way back in at least the 50s, probably mid-50s, maybe even earlier, playing other people's bands. So he'd been playing jazz for a long time before that horrible album cover, so he can get away with it. Kind of minimal on the liner notes, but you know, something to read. So that's the last of my CDs there. Yeah, I was pretty excited. You know, there's just nowhere really to buy used CDs worth a darn anymore here in town. I still like to buy CDs. They're convenient. You just throw them in the car, and you have something you can listen to as you drive around town. Can't pass them up for that price, $3 or less. So that's part one of what I found at the Friends of the Library sale. My cat's going crazy over here in the room, trying to get my closet where all the CDs are. That's part one. Part two is going to be the vinyl. I just got to kind of get them organized a little and read up on some of these things, but that'll be coming soon. Thanks for watching, and see you next time. Bye.
Walk out on the time.
You can buy this record and listen to it. Oh, right. Uh-oh.
Yo, you're on film. Chess Records, yay, famous label.
Moonglows.
Man. Man.
$500 record. $500. In near mint condition. This one's not original. This one's not near mint. It's in pretty nice shape. Actually, water being used on the cover. The cover's pretty intact. It's got the shine on it. It's got the shine. It's not ripped. I know, it's just a little too big.